Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all so much. I think we all feel the excitement and the electricity that's in this room tonight. And we're going to take that into the next campaign and then the next general election and turn this province blue. There's going to be a general election. We know that. We have nothing to do with the choice of when that election will be called, but we have everything to do with the choice of how it will end. I've traveled across this province from the great land, the big land of Labrador, the Northern Peninsula, to the Port-au-Port Peninsula, the Burin Peninsula, the Bonavista Peninsula, the Avalon Peninsula, central Newfoundland, all over Newfoundland and Labrador. And the people of Newfoundland and Labrador have said it's time for a change. And they simply say that Liberals got to go. When you think about everything that's happened in our province, everything that's gone wrong, it just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. It was choices, Liberal choices and neglect. Instead of cutting taxes and fees, they increased them. They increased over 300 fees. They brought you the carbon tax. They brought you the sugar tax. They didn't cut poverty. They cut the poverty reduction strategy, which was one of the best poverty reduction strategy in the entire country. Children in this province are going to school hungry. Seniors are living on toast and tea, having to split their pills to make them last. Instead of housing the homeless, what did the Liberals do? They rented a hotel at $7 million a year and then turned around and are spending $6 million a year to operate it with no plan whatsoever, and it remains almost empty. They turned around and applauded themselves for building 750 new houses. Minister after minister stood up and said, we built 750 new homes. What did we find out actually? They built 11. They built 11. That's the kind of legacy of the Liberal government. And yet they left their own housing units in disrepair and vacant. And I am here to tell you there is a better way. We have a plan, and better starts now. So we will review all the taxes and fees that this current government has put in place. Any fees that impede growth, they're gone. Any taxes that do more harm than good, gone. The sugar tax, gone. And we will fight until that carbon tax is eliminated. All our social programs will be reviewed. Income thresholds, we will raise them. Seniors' benefits, we will increase them. And then we will index them to the cost of living, so what a check can buy today, it can buy tomorrow. And child poverty, we will once again be the national leader in poverty reduction and prevention, not because it's the easy thing to do, but because it's the right thing to do. We have the plan, and better starts now. We will prioritize housing. We will repair the housing units that currently sit empty. We will build more where they are needed. We will ensure that families can move from waitlist to real homes. We will work with municipalities to remove the barriers to building so new homes can go up sooner with less red tape. We will give municipalities a bigger say over the Crown lands within their communities and within their boundaries. Our plan will also include seniors who deserve to live safely with as much independence as possible. We have the plan, and better starts now. Let me just talk about healthcare for a minute. 175,000 people, according to the Medical Association, do not have access to a family physician. 175,000. And when nurse practitioners step up to help out, the government, the Liberal government, shuts them out and refuses to cover the cost of people who need to see and take advantage of a valuable service that nurse practitioners can provide. Instead, we see emergency departments closed with no doctor. Yet we have a video screen and we're paying millions of dollars to a company in the United States for foreign doctors to turn around and say, yes, we will see you on a video screen. That money needs to be invested right here in Newfoundland and Labrador with our own people and our own physicians and our own staff. Instead of seeing a local nurse who lives down the road, you're being seen by a travel nurse who's already got the plane ticket booked to go back home. Not good enough. Think of the 12-year-old boy with a serious head injury from Bonavista who went to the emergency department there and found the doors locked and had to turn around and drive to Carnville. Think of the patient waiting almost 2 years to get an MRI, or the senior waiting endless hours in an emergency department. Liberal wait times have increased significantly. Think of the 13-year-old girl denied services in St. John's because she was from the Western region. One health authority, but two standards of care. Think of the poor people in Labrador, some who have lost their lives waiting for a medevac. Premier Fury wants to spend millions of dollars opening up an office in Boston. I want to open up emergency rooms in rural Newfoundland and Labrador. Thank you. Thanks. And after all this, the Premier and the Liberal government have declared Newfoundland and Labrador Canada's first wellness province. Wow. When a government can't see what's wrong, nothing will change until the government is changed. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We have the plan, and better starts now. We will offer full-time jobs as students start their medical education, offering them jobs on their way in their programs, not on their way out. We will work to retain the professionals that we already have here working in our province, and welcome back those who have left. And instead of wasting $100 million a year on travel nurses, we will fairly compensate the nurses who live here and want to stay. Diagnostic equipment. We will strategically locate new diagnostic equipment across our province to improve access to testing. But it's not good enough to say we're going to make investments in more equipment. We need to make sure that we have a robust health human resources plan so that we can actually staff and make sure that that equipment is being used and utilized. A plan that the Liberals have failed. We will develop a human resource plan and make sure that our facilities are properly staffed and our equipment can be worked so nobody has to wait for 18 or 24 months to have a CT because we have no staff. Not good enough. If you travel, for those of us in rural Newfoundland and Labrador, many of us have to travel for appointments, for medical appointments outside our region. Well, I'm here to tell you that if you need to travel outside your region, the PC government of Newfoundland and Labrador will turn around and cover the cost. So you will never have to worry about whether you can afford to go. And if you have to visit a nurse practitioner, leave your credit card home. Just bring your MCP card, because we will cover the cost. And let me say this, we won't build hospitals to put people in quarters. We will build hospitals to put people in beds. We will engage with frontline healthcare workers, and you will be able to measure what we deliver because everything will be benchmarked and accountable. We have the plan, and better starts now. At a time in Newfoundland and Labrador where people no longer feel safe in our communities, in our schools, not on their streets, not even at home, something is seriously wrong with public safety in Newfoundland and Labrador. And it's time that it was changed, and it will change. The government I lead, the PC government of Newfoundland and Labrador, we will work with police and municipal leaders, women's groups and Indigenous communities, teachers and parents and young people to get to the root cause of this increase in violence and crime. We will tackle addictions through our healthcare system and our correction system. We will give police the tools, the personnel, and mental health supports to keep our communities safer. We will give women and children more options to escape violence in the home. And we will heed the call on missing and murdered Indigenous women and children and heed that call for action. And we will ensure our schools are safe places for learning and addressing bullying outside the school and online with violence prevention initiatives that work. No one should live in fear. No child should live in fear, not in any society, and certainly not in Newfoundland and Labrador, and it will never be tolerated under a government that I lead. In the last 10 years, the Liberal government have failed the people of this province. They have failed our fishery. Instead of fighting for our rights and a greater say, they didn't listen to the harvesters. They called in the police to drive them away. Fish harvesters just wanted to be heard. Fish harvesters deserve to be on the water, not on the steps of the Confederation building. They have failed our farmers by putting up roadblocks to growth instead of paving the way for food security. They have failed our small businesses, wrapping them up in a tangle of red tape and high taxes that are killing jobs and opportunities in communities. They have failed industry after industry where opportunities are being missed while the province lacks any semblance of an economic plan to improve it. And they have failed our youth. Children who are not in childcare for lack of spaces, students whose teachers are worked beyond what they can do, students who can't afford a post-secondary education because the Liberal government has cut funding to those institutions. And let me tell you, whitewashing their signs and reducing the Liberal name so that you can barely see it won't matter, because all the white paint in all the hardware stores across Newfoundland and Labrador will not be enough to wipe out the Liberal record. We will take care of that in the next election. We have the plan, and better starts now. We will put the concerns of Newfoundland and Labrador communities right at the top of our priority list. On my watch, we will have a fisheries minister who is responsible with one focus, a standalone fisheries department, long overdue. And I will make joint fisheries management a priority from day one. You know, it's not good enough for somebody sitting at a desk in Ottawa to tell you the size of your boat, the type of gear you can use, the quota you could catch, and when you could catch it. We need to be able to have a greater say in our fishery, and it's time we had a government that stood up and fought for it. We will work with farmers to achieve higher targets of food production. We will develop a new Northern Strategic Plan for Labrador, and we will develop comprehensive strategies like we talked about today for all regions with local stakeholders in the driver's seat. And for those who want to start a business, we will reduce red tape to help you do that. As we said before, Newfoundland and Labrador under the Liberal government leads the country in red tape. Under a PC government, we will lead the country in red tape reduction. Let's get back to being Canada's ocean technology leader. Let's get back to being Canada's energy warehouse. Let's get back to being a leader at the national stage, so when our province talks, we are heard. Instead of asking, is this in our political interest? We will ask ourselves, is this in the interest of the people of Newfoundland and Labrador? When others kick the can down the road, I will tackle those challenges head on. And when others kick the people down the road, I will bring people into our offices. Our government will be accountable. We will do budgeting in a way that is more open than any budgetary process in the history of our province. We will be financially and fiscally responsible. I will insist on benchmarks we can measure, feedback we can learn from, and targets that can constantly exceed the ones we achieve. And we will put an end to the days of Newfoundland and Labrador settling for less than its fair share in this federation. The time has come to stop getting less than Newfoundland and Labrador deserves. People in this province have had a decade of getting less than they deserve. They share our vision for a prosperous Newfoundland and Labrador, a province where people just don't come from, they come to. A province where people want to live, not leave. A province where life is affordable, healthcare is accessible, no opportunity is left untapped, and no one is left behind. So let us be that team. Let us be that party that turns around and says, it's not just about the next election, it's about the next generation. Let us take that message forward. We can do better. We must do better. We will do better. And better starts now.